it seems to me that perhaps there's a whole piece of social media education that is not being explored, right? We talk a lot about what we put out there, but we don't talk a lot about how we receive it, right? So is there a whole education piece that needs to be happening around like how we interact with what we see on social media as opposed to just with what we put on social media?
For me, when I think about the violence part, it's people bullying people, it's people saying like what I think are not nice things to people. And again, like I say, the fight videos or the taking a photo of someone and putting jokes underneath, I think has got to be one of the worst for me. I really hate that.
It's really easy to dehumanize somebody that you've never met before because there is no expectation of meeting them in person, so you can slander them, you can send them death threats, and you literally won't realize that you're talking to a person.
Right.
And then in real life, you're faced with your emotions, your feelings, that person's emotions. You've got no idea, like, how to navigate that in person because you've been doing it, like, online.
Kind of like everyday stuff that's happening, the slut shaming, the comments.
An increase of kids committing suicide because of the amount of bullying that happens. And because people can, like, one time you got bullied, it was 5 girls, you beat up the biggest one, and the rest of them left you alone, right? That's how it works. When you're looking at it just being out there in the air, you could have 1,500 people bullying you that you don't even know how to, to defend yourself.
Like, I used to get a cyberbully, but like now it's just like face-to-face, like people will go like with my name and stuff. Like on Snapchat and stuff. Like they would make videos like of their friends and stuff making fun of me. And like they would just call me fat and all that. And then as soon as they come to my face, I feel like it's less into my face. Like they say like more worse on social media because I can't get them when I'm on social media.
Right.
But when they're like face-to-face with me, it's like...
When you say something positive to somebody online, it's kind of like, oh yeah, like that's a good thought, but like it loses its spice. But once you're negative online, it seems to be carried throughout, like through years or months or whatever. Like looking on timelines, sometimes I'll see stuff like fights that happened years ago, and people will still talk about it. They thrive off of violence, and like that's the sad thing about the internet. Like we don't have positive messages, we have violence, and that's why it's becoming so increasingly concerning because our world thrives on violence.
I think because that's one probably because of our stereotypes that we get. Like, oh yeah, they're all hoes. You don't.
I know, it's like, how can I tuck my stomach in a bathing suit on vacation while looking like I don't care?
So girls should get like cyberbullied from the way they dress or the way who they hang around. Like I used to get bullied sometimes and go call a guy because I hang around a lot of guys. Like guys is like, oh yeah, experience your life. Date this girl, smash that girl, do this girl, do that girl. And then a girl is like, oh, I'm gonna date this one guy. No, I'm a nasty because this girl dated him. So now I'm nasty. Or there's been rumors saying that this person has AIDS because they slept with that person. But I don't sleep with nobody but my teddy bear, so.
Me! I actually have a friend who is gay.
No, me too.
And, shoosh. And, he's, like, constantly getting bullied and stuff because he's dating this guy and he keeps, like, posting pictures with him. I find it adorable. It's really cute. Every time I go on the comments, I always see this, like, really negative comment. It's, like, by the same person. And it's, like, oh, you're gay, you're such a fag and stuff.
That's
like
okay.
that. I'm like,
you can be gay.
Yeah, exactly. So I comment to, like, kind of like say, hey, so what, they're gay. You don't have to like judge them for it.
So you defend them online?
I help them because they live in England.
And you would do that?
Like it shapes people's practice of life from the minute they wake up till they go to sleep for like maybe your whole life. So yeah, I think that I notice it the most definitely around older people who are first like starting to try to penetrate that word.
Totally.
But it works. If you get past that first thing, it works on your mind. And it's virtual reality.
Working with younger generations, there's like a different disconnect that I find sometimes. Like before you're 18, the statistics now are like you see over 100,000 simulated deaths before you're like even of age. So it kind of makes you think of what is that actually doing, and that's just that. Think about
You mean video game simulated death?
anything like TV,
Right.
video games, anything. So when you take that statistic and then you plug it into other things like, I don't know, what other, sorry, yeah, maybe gun violence, or even like being able to like call someone a bitch or a slut or something. When you're seeing people already doing it, it's not much of a shock. And then when then it's real life and someone does it, that shock value is kind of gone.
Like, where are your parents? Like, do you like what do you tell your parents when you're leaving the house? Do you say like, oh, I'm just gonna go for a walk, when you're really gonna go do something different? So I guess it's like the relationship parents have with their kids.
Yeah.
Like, I couldn't go anywhere when I was younger without telling my parents. They would whoop my ass if I didn't tell them everything. Like who my friends were, like where we would be hanging out. Because they were just like, we want to know your whereabouts if anything were to happen to you. Like, we are responsible for you. So it kind of surprises me that there's probably that, I guess, that gap between, like, the communication gap with like parents and their kids. Like, how much do you care about your child's whereabouts and your child's involvement, whether it's like in person or online, or like who they interact with, how they interact with that.
I think it has a lot to do with parents, because it's the job of the parent to, I don't want to use censor, but maybe monitor what they're doing. I know they can't do that when they're not with their child, but if you can give them the right guidelines and the right tools to use when they're not home.
So if you're giving your kid a laptop or a phone and letting them go on social media and they're seeing a bunch of violence or bullying, or if you're putting them in the hands of somebody that doesn't like that doesn't see bullying as bullying, you know, just kids being kids, then that kid is gonna grow up to be what we're trying to get away from.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, and so like that like my father said, like that's where it starts. It starts at home. Like you need to raise your kids and teach your kids, like, you know, the morals, so they can carry those as adults and they can educate the younger you, and we can bridge that gap. Because right now, like, there's too many people growing up in a technology state right now. 2018, technology is rampant. If you allow somebody else to raise your children become what they're being taught.
Yeah.
We're older and we tend to zone in on cyberbullying, perhaps because that's what we can relate to our direct experiences, right? But then youth have this whole other set of things that are happening online that we're like, wait, do I even know what that is?
If I'm going on my social media, I don't want to go on to that stuff. I don't want people putting, like, I have to remind people all the time, like, I want my page to stay happiness and nice, and you know, that's what I go on there for. I only go on Facebook for my grandkids' pictures and things like that. I don't want that kind of stuff. I don't, you know, and I'm not that knowledgeable to know how to kind of not let people post things and stuff. Like, I'm still learning some of that stuff as far as Facebook. The other ones that I stay away from is because I know that there's, you know, the one and only time that I went on Snapchat, there was some young people on there, and there was a situation and that, you know, I kind of wish I didn't know about, right? But in a way, I was glad I knew about it, because it was young people getting ready to do something that wasn't appropriate. So, and they were like, how did you even know? And I said, Snapchat, buddy.
Because the old people mostly use Facebook and WhatsApp. That's why.
Yeah, they were like this, the old people.
How did you know that?
Snap.
Because
My mom, like, when the church is done with my mom and my mom, like, when it's done and the dance, I'm like, they're inside. Even if you call them, they're like,
Really?
Yes.
Wow.
There's so many ways of communicating with people now. I think it has a lot to do with why there's so much distress and so much issues that people are dealing with.
agree with
Because
that.
it's like, you can go to bed, but work is still calling you or messaging you, and your best friends girlfriend is telling you that like this is going on. So like sometimes that feeling of not or disconnecting for a bit, instead of being relaxing, sometimes it could be like anxiety.
Totally. The constant feeling that even when I try to stop, that I feel like I should be doing something. Whether it's like for work or like if it's not work, it's like, no, you should be taking advantage of the time more. Like go see people you like, go do that. Like this feeling of not actually knowing how to be alone with ourselves. And I don't know, like, I think it's interesting for people in this age group because we knew it without the constant of technology, but we've also grown up as it's grown increasingly in people's lives. So part of me sometimes is like, is this just what it means to, like, part of being an adult? Because apparently I'm one of those now.
Yeah.
One big thing that I gotta say is you're saying about how do the youth and adults get together, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
It's gonna be a hard time because what happens is that the older generation don't have social media.
Yeah.
They don't do the computers. They don't do that. So how can we learn the adults about the younger generation unless we start showing them, like maybe some films sometime or some, you know, get a documentary or do something.
It's interesting that with technology, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years can be such a difference of opinions.
I would delete my Instagram if my mom followed me.
And why is that?
Because it's just weird. Because
But it's because you don't want her to see what you're doing.
it's not that I don't, because I don't post stuff inappropriate.
You don't really at all.
We both follow you.
When you get older, you're gonna be have the same problem. You're gonna have your children the same way. You're gonna.
Oh, I'll get Instagram, Snapchat, Musically, and all them.
You'll be all up in your children's business?
And WhatsApp.
That's really interesting, but if your mom was all up in your business, you'd delete your account.
Because the thing is, I post stuff and my mom's still like, don't do that. What if that happened? What if this happened?
I mean, as a dad, right, you know, I think it's super important that my kids have a space where, like, some of this is like, are we fully formed when we come up with this decision about what we do, right? Or are we trying things out?
I keep going back, and this has been happening to me for a few weeks now, I keep going back to this idea of the gap between what we know and what we do. Like how we how we make good choices in the moment as opposed to just like when we sit in a room like this, we know what the safe choices are. We know like as a friend what I can do, as a parent I can do. So, but what's that like? How do we ensure that brain work transfers into actual action?
I guess one of the things that I'm interested in is like how do these different spaces get crossed? And different, you know, like how do people organize in one space to take violence into another space?
Didn't somebody compare social media as like the Hunger Games, kind of? Everybody's in competition for certain things to get paid off, most likes, you know, to get sponsored, you know, for whatever it may be. It's like we're always colliding with each other. You know, social media, like Zeke said, social media is labeled social media, but it's opposite. It's the opposite of social media.
Anti-social.
Yeah, anti.
I feel like we don't give younger generations enough credit for how much they understand privacy compared to I think you guys understand privacy more than some older generations.
So at the end of the day, no matter how many people pick on you, just be focused on what you want to do and remember your friends that you have and your family you have, because in 5 years time from now, those people are not going to be by your side. They're going to be somewhere else.
One more time. One more time.
Don't touch me. I know your location on Snapchat.
Oh, okay.
Facebook is full of nudes.
Wow.
Yeah.
Duh. Loves like summer, sunshine, the color purple, hates boys and mean people.